All right. All right. Looks like we're live now. Sorry, I heard something behind me. Thought my dog was sticking up on me or something. Anyway, let's jump into this. Let's get the disclaimers out of the way. We'll get into it. This is the weekly live broadcast, pretty much every Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central. This is where I am. You can come in here, ask me questions, start up a conversation. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. I don't have any kind of limitations on it. I believe that we can all be friends, even if we do disagree on things. So, for that reason, I don't mind if we talk about politics, religion, or any of those kinds of controversial topics. The only things I ask is be polite, be family friendly, don't be hateful, don't be rude with anybody. There's no reason to start cussing anybody or any of those kinds of things. We'll have to kick you out. But other than that, everything is pretty much fair game. Let's jump into it. We got a couple of people here already. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, I'll be there. I don't know where you're talking about, but good. Oh, you know what? I got to change my chat to all chat instead of top chat because I may have missed one or two. All right. We got that changed. Hopefully, if I missed your comment, if you chatted something already and I missed it, I'm sorry. Hopefully, we're good going forward. Buck Reynolds says to hello to everybody from Catoosa, Oklahoma. Hope everyone is well. And push the like button. Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Chester Hickman's here. Says good evening and getting ready for some more kits in a few days. Well, awesome. Congratulations, or maybe the congratulations is too early because you don't know yet, but hopefully everything goes well. I should have, into next week, it looks like I'll be checking to see if, my dough's ready. I think it's next week. Maybe it's the week after. I can't remember. I got to look back at the calendar. But anyway, sometime pretty quick, I got to go check and see if my doe, my silver fox doe, is ready for her nest box and to have her kits. Hopefully she does this time, and hopefully not this weekend. I know it's not this weekend, but we got a big, winter storm coming in, snow, maybe a pretty good one, maybe nothing. It just depends on how far north it works. So hopefully not. I know it's not this weekend, but this weekend would be bad. All right, Warren's Life. Hello to you too. Thank you for joining tonight. Mart Tamar, is that it? It's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's just down the road from me. Hello to you. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. We got Nathan Bailey from Texas. Good to see you. Thank you. And then somebody else from Texas here. Who's that? Jeremiah Jimenez? Is that Jimenez? There it is. Jeremiah Jimenez, I think is what it is. Says, what's up from Winnie, Texas? I don't know where that is, but thank you for joining tonight. Appreciate it. Martimar says, getting ready for snow coming in tomorrow and the weekend. Yeah, it's the same front that we've got coming in. I was just saying, I'm in Joplin, you're in Tulsa. I mean, we're right in line. We usually get the same weather for the most part, but it just depends a little bit on how far north that front moves as to how much snow we're going to get. So they're saying we could get anywhere from 8 to 12 inches, which, for some of you guys up north, that may not be much, but for here, that's quite a bit of snow. We don't get that much of snow very often at all. All right. Andy Dundas says, hey, everybody from Southwest Michigan. It's going to get cold. Low temperatures around 0 degrees. Yeah, we're going to be right there with you in the next couple of days. Right? Today it wasn't. Today it was like almost 50, I think. It's pretty nice. And tomorrow doesn't look too bad for the most part during the day. Then we start getting a cold front that comes through. By tomorrow evening, we should start getting snow. And I think Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be real cold, brutally cold, like right around 0 degrees. Dewdrop says, hello from the Bristol Hills of Western New York. Hello to you too. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Who's this? Ben Blunt says, it's been a while since I watched from Idaho. Well, thank you for joining tonight. I appreciate it. Good to see you again. Sam Russell, hello from northern Jasper County. Very excited for the snowpocalypse this weekend. Northern Jasper County. I can't be too far away. Yeah, that's just, I'm in Jasper County. Of course, I'm in very southwestern Jasper County, but you can't be too far away from me if you're in northern Jasper County. If you're in Missouri anyway, I'm guessing. There are other Jasper counties, I guess, in the world, but Jasper County, Missouri is what I'm thinking. Chester Hickman says, we're expecting a little bit here in East Texas as well. Last forecast I saw said you guys are probably getting ice. I don't know if that's changed or not, but I would much rather have snow than ice. So hopefully that's not the case. Let's see. Jeremiah Jimenez says, my buck had some flaky buildup on both his ears. Might you know what it is? Oh, well, when you say flaky buildup, did it look like, and you say on both of his ears, was it at the ends of his ears or was it down inside, like in the ear canal itself? If that's the case, if it's inside the ear canal itself, it looks maybe a little scabbish, a little bit like scabs. That's probably ear mites, is probably what that is. If it's out on the outer tips of his ears or something, I don't honestly know. If I don't, by just saying flaky buildup, I'm not real sure. It could just be dry skin or something like that. You said inside the ears. Yes, sir. Okay, so it looked like kind of scabs inside his ears. More than likely, that's ear mites. It's a very common thing. You can get rid of it pretty easily. Just a couple of drops of any kind of food grade oil in the ear every day. Do that every day for, until the scabs are gone. Don't go scraping them off or anything like that. Just leave them be. Put a little couple of drops in his ears, or better yet, get the spray olive oil and just spray that, because it's really hard to drop things that they don't like it. They'll shake their heads when you try to put oil in there and knock the dropper out of your hand. You don't need to put a ton in there, just a little bit, but you can just get one of those spray cans of olive oil. Any kind of food grade oil is going to be okay to use. Mineral oil, any of that stuff is really honestly fine. Spray a little bit of that in his ears, though. That's the easy way to do it. And just do that every day until the scabs are gone, and then maybe for another week afterwards, just to make sure. And you should be good. It's really not that hard to get rid of. There's Donis, I think. I don't even know if I pronounced your name right or not, but says, hey there. Hello to you too. Good evening, Don. I see you there. Let's see where we at here. Gidros Family Farm is here. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining. Let's see where we at here. Rap 11 says, hey, Chris and everyone, they're calling for an ice storm here in Southeast Virginia. Yeah, we got a big snowstorm coming. So, we may, like I said, it may be nothing. It may be 12 inches. We don't know. We're just kind of in that, we're right at the edge of where that's all going to hit. So it may go all south of us or it may hit us. We don't know. Jeremiah Jimenez says, I did get rid of it with ivermectin. So, well, yeah, you can do that if you want to. Don says, I was told to get liquid ivermectin when I got into rabbits. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. It's fine. Let me get this out of the way. Thomas Gollum says hello to everybody. Hello to you too. And Andy Rabbit's here. Hello to you too. Let's jump back into this. Okay, so ivermectin for ear mites. I mean, you can use it if you want to. I just prefer, it's so easy to get rid of with, like I said, any kind of food grade oil. So I prefer to use that if it works and it's effective, as opposed to putting pesticides and things like that into my rabbits. But, do it either way you want to. Ivermectin's not, it's commonly used. It's okay to use. But I just prefer to use more, like I said, food grade oil. Why go any further if I don't have to? David Lister says, Ty quote Boomer from the Fox and the Hound. Oh, to quote Boomer from the Fox and the Hound. I don't know I don't know what you're talking about there. Boomer from the Fox and the Hound. I've seen the Fox and the Hound, but I was a kid. I don't remember exactly what that is. Andy Rabbit says, I hope we don't get anything. Well, and Don says, me too. Wouldn't that be great? I don't mind some snow every once in a while. I'm not really too worried about it. If it snows, it snows. I got 4-wheel drive. If I need to get out, it'll be okay. I don't know. It's kind of nice to have one big snow every great once in a while. But, if we don't get anything, I won't be too hurt about that either. Clearwater Finches says, hey, all. Hello to you. Let's see. Wildlife Homesteader says, what's the best kind of oil to roast quail? What? The best kind of oil to roast quail? I don't know. Is that what you meant to say? Best kind of oil to roast quail? Because if you're roasting, you're not going to be using oil necessarily, are you? Or, you could. I guess you could, rub it down with some olive oil or something like that. If I was going to use some kind of oil on it, I'd probably use olive oil. But I don't know if that's what you meant. So, I don't know. Maybe there's ask again if you need to and clarify it for me, because I'm not really sure what you're asking. Buck Stops Here Homestead says, hello from South Mississippi. Y'all need to keep this cold weather up there, LOL. They're saying in the 20s here Monday and Tuesday. Southerners are not used to that, LOL. And no kidding, I know what you're talking about. I lived in Texas for about 8 years, so yeah, I know what happens in the South whenever they get cold fronts and get snow or anything. It snowed one time when I lived in Texas. I lived there 8 years. Nacogdoches, Deep East Texas, and it snowed one time. It was on Easter Sunday. It was like 45, almost 50 degrees out, and it snowed, and people at the grocery store were panicking. I mean, panicking. They were freaking out. I got to get home before it gets bad. I'm like, it's like 45 degrees out. It's not going to get bad. It's going to be okay. But anyway, they don't know. They never deal with that stuff. So it's a little different. I get it. And like I said, for us, 12 inches of snow, that's a lot of snow. I mean, that's a big snow. We don't get that much snow very often. And for some of those guys up north, they're probably laughing at us saying, oh, 12 inches of snow, But that's a lot of snow for us. Rap 11 says, Rap 111 is me, Alan. I'm not sure how to change my user back. I don't know. Did I miss a comment from what now? I don't know. Rap 111 is me, Alan. I'm not sure how to change my user back. I don't know if you were going by a different user or what. I'm confused. Anyway, Don says, I already had over a foot of snow last month. LL, don't need more. Yeah, we did not get any snow, really any at all so far. So I'm not going to be upset if we get a little bit. Jim Fershey, I think it is. Jim Fershey says, hey, Chris, longtime viewer living in Charleston, West Virginia. Learned a lot about rabbits from your channel and only recently got into Coturnix quail since April, and we're enjoying the food variety. Well, awesome. Thank you for watching the videos. I'm glad that you're getting what you need out of them, and I'll do my best to keep producing them. Let's see. Don says that to the buck stops here, Homestead. I'm in central Illinois, and the snow front / cold front is south coming up to us. You keep it down there. Yeah, I don't think this one's supposed to get all the way up into Illinois, but I may be wrong. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it does move a little bit more north, so you may get it. And you said central Illinois. I don't think it's going to get up that high, but it might. It might. I'm not a weather forecaster. I'm not a meteorologist. But everything I saw looked like, I mean, we're looking at like, on a map, like here's Missouri, so Illinois would be like up here, and like southwest Missouri where I'm at, it looked like it's coming up like this, kind of moving that way. So depends on how far north it hits, whether it hits us and probably you too, really. But I don't know. Andy Rabbit says, if it melts off fast enough, it's okay. They plow our roads in town pretty fast. I have enough to eat for a few days, but it's just too cold to do anything outside. The hubby gets cabin fever real quick. Well, I understand that. I'll be done with it by the time it melts off. Trust me. But I don't mind getting it. I kind of like it. But I'm the same way. I'm like, melt off pretty quick. I'll be done with it within a day or two. It looks like this is going to be like start tomorrow night a little bit, but really Saturday afternoon, evening into Sunday is going to be the bulk of it. So I mean, it may hang around till Monday or Tuesday even. I don't know. Sam Russell says, I will most likely be posting satirical ice protests on my channel throughout the snowpocalypse. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Jim Fershey says, we're preparing for it here in Charleston, calling for 7 to 14 between Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. We're getting anywhere from like 8 to 12 inches, but then again, it may be nothing. It just depends. So Andy Rabbit says, I'm afraid it's going to crush the rabbit shed roof in. Hopefully not. It's supposed to be pretty dry snow, so maybe it'll be fluffy enough it'll just kind of fall off and it won't crush the rabbit shed. Brian Allen says, good evening from Alabama. Good evening to you too. Glad to see you. Let's see. Black River Kennel says, got some XXL jumbo white Coturnix hatching in the incubator right now, going to lockdown on Saturday. So they're not hatching yet, but they're in the incubator and they go into lockdown on Saturday. Hopefully we'll start hatching Monday-ish, right? That's my guess. Hopefully they do. Good luck with your hatch. Hopefully you have a great hatch. Thomas Gollum says, just a random question, but does anybody pay for ad-free YouTube? I never thought I would even consider because I'm cheap, but the 55-second commercials are starting to get out of control. I have never paid for ad-free YouTube myself. I don't really mind the ads that much. I mean, and I'm sorry that they play on my channel. I do get monetized. I don't make a lot of money on YouTube. But I do get monetized, try to bring in a little bit of money to help cover costs and things. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't just turn off all the ads. I mean, I would, the little bit of money I get, like I said, I don't make that much on YouTube. Doesn't I don't want to get rid of it though. But I don't have an answer for you on paying for no ads. Black River Kennel says, long-time viewer. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Buck Reynolds says, because Ivermectin will get rid of the worms and parasites. Yeah, it's an anti-parasite. I mean, that's what it does, right? I agree. But honestly, I don't see any reason to use it for ear mites. If you can just get rid of ear mites with olive oil or food grade oil, I mean, it's pretty easy. I don't see any reason to use it for that. But I'm not saying you shouldn't. You can. Let's see. Andy Rabbit says, oh wait. Dawn says to Andy Rabbit, giving him honeydews, talking about her husband that gets cabin fever. And Andy Rabbit says, my son is heading out to Lebanon, Illinois. How far is that from you? Okay, well, I'll let you guys talk about that. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, hey, Chris, how long can my chicken eggs be fertile for after I see the roux mate with the hen? He is 4 or 5 months old and practicing his crow. LOL, he has some work to do, crow-wise. I am not a chicken expert, so I can only answer from the standpoint of quail, but I think it would be about the same for chickens. I don't know how old a chicken rooster has to be fertile. I couldn't tell you that exactly, but if he's starting to crow, I'm guessing he is. So with quail anyway, about, let's see, quail would stay fertile about, I want to say it's about 5 days after they've been bred, they'll stay fertile and continue to lay fertile eggs. So I'm assuming it's about the same with the chicken. But you know what? I can probably look that up for you real quick. Let me see what I can find, an answer, see what AI says. Okay, 1 to 2 weeks is what it says. And I may be a little bit off on that. I wanted to say it was 10 days, but then I was catching myself. So I think it's about 10 days with a quail. It's about up to 2 weeks. Up to. Now, it may not be 2 weeks every time, but up to 2 weeks for chickens, it looks like. Dawn says, nothing is going to melt over the next couple of weeks. Single digits here for 2 weeks or so. Yeah, that does put a hamper on it for sure. Now, if you have a lot of sunshine with that, it still will melt. Even if it is really cold, you'll still get melt. But, yeah, it depends on how much sunshine we get, too. Let's see. Todd Jacobson says, thanks for the advice. Little Giant Incubator issue. Customer service sent the parts I needed. Good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. They've always been great with me with customer service. Super easy to deal with and send me what I need. I've only had to deal with them like twice. I've only had 2 issues over the last 10 years or so, but they've always been great to deal with. Poppy says it's quite a long, large storm, so prep if you can, because you never know. You never know. That's true. Yeah, I had to stop by Walmart after work today, pick up a few things. It wasn't like storm prep stuff. We just needed a couple of things. So we stopped by on the way home. Oh my gosh, that place was packed. I mean, just everybody in town, it seemed like, was there. They're starting to panic a little bit. We walked by the eggs and the eggs were all gone. My wife goes, what's going on? I was like, well, we got a winter storm coming. Everybody's buying eggs and bread and milk. I don't know why. Whenever a storm comes, that's what everybody feels like they need. Bread, eggs, and milk. I don't get it. But anyway, everybody was there. It was crazy. David Lister says the entire quote from Boomer was, I'm about to freeze my beak off. Okay, got it. I'm with you. I don't remember that, but I believe you. Let's see. Jeremiah Jimenez says, would our rabbits be fine outside during the weekend freeze? Yeah, they'll be fine. Don't worry about it. My rabbits stay outside all year long. We get well down below zero. It's fine. They've got big fur coats on. They're equipped for it. They'll do fine. They do a lot better in actually really cold, for even freezing temperatures than they do in the heat of summer. So it's don't worry about them. They're going to be okay. Give them a windbreak. Make sure they don't have just wind blowing on them nonstop or anything like that. But other than that, they'll be okay. Andy Rabbit says, I got sold as a chicken plucker, but it's small, 11 inches tall, 9 inches wide. Sounds right for quail. $48 off Amazon. Awesome. I'm kind of curious how well that would work. Guidro's Family Farm says, I hope for 0 snow in South Louisiana. Yeah, I don't think you guys are even in this storm path, are you? I mean, are you? I don't think you're on track to get snow. Um, Maybe you're wrong. I don't know. I don't think. Does it ever snow in southern Louisiana? I don't know. Poppy says, problem, my buck rabbit has decided he likes peeing in his food. Maybe because he moved him a couple of weeks ago to a new cage, tried moving the food, no dice. That's very strange. I can't say that I've ever had that problem. But buck rabbits can be kind of nasty anyway. More than likely, it's just a marking his territory kind of thing. He'll probably get over it. Still unpleasant. I'm not really sure what to tell you to do to fix it. Raise his food up a little bit, maybe, if there's a way to do that, to raise it up so he can still get to it and eat it, but maybe harder for him to urinate. I don't know. I don't know. Thomas Gollum says, I've never candled my eggs during incubation. Just let all eggs go until the end. Anybody have any tips, tricks to determine if eggs are fertile? Total noob here. So, I mean, aside from, and fertile is not really what you're looking at. I mean, yeah, if they're not fertile, they won't develop, but there could be other reasons why they don't develop either. And the time when people would normally candle eggs would be, I mean, you could do it much earlier. Let's see, with quail, it's going to be probably around day 10 or 11, somewhere around in there, you could start candling. But honestly, I mean, just do it right before you move them into lockdown. The ones that light up like a light bulb, they're not fertile, or they're not developing anyway, one way or the other, and you can just toss them if you wanted to. I don't ever candle them. I just throw them all in there, and whatever hatches. But you can candle if you want to. Andy Rabbit says, ivermectin for ear mites is a one-time 1 or 2 drops in the ears and they are gone. Oil is daily in the ear for a week or so. That's true. I mean, it is slightly easier, I suppose, but I still prefer to use oil over ivermectin for ear mites because it's not really that difficult. And if I don't use droppers anymore, I use the spray can, so I just spray them, done, and go on about my day. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, thank you for looking that up. Well, you're absolutely welcome. Let's see. We got a couple of people talking to each other, which I'll skip over. We got Dawn says, I just got my new tire valve stem thawed out last night. LOL. After it got up to 45 yesterday. Oh, yeah. That is the one bad thing about cold air coming in, right? It always makes your tires, like deflate a little bit, or actually it's just a pressure thing, but you get what I'm saying. You almost have to put air in them, and if it's frozen, I guess that would be incredibly difficult to do. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, Thomas, I always candle my eggs because there's a risk of the bad egg exploding or leaking liquid into your egg turner and incubator. Well, that's true. I can't say that I've ever really had that issue, but it does happen. You're right. It could happen. Let's see where we at here. Buck stops here. Homestead says, Dawn, I know you all get tired of snow and cold weather. We usually only have a few weeks of it. Yeah, we don't. I mean, we get cold weather, but it's not consistent through the whole winter. It's like we're up to 50 degrees today. It's going to be cold the next couple of days, probably in the middle of next week or towards the end of next week, and then we'll get another spell where it's up in the 40s, maybe 50s, during the day. So it's not too bad here. Where are we at here? Andy Rabbit says, oh man, I just went to the store to get a few things to last a few days of staying home, and the same thing here. No milk in 2 stores, eggs almost gone. Aldi was almost 100% bare. That's crazy, isn't it? Chris 308 says, Ozarks are about to get it. I hope everyone is prepared. Yeah, well, I'm right at the edge of the Ozarks, so I know it's coming our way. I'm as prepared as I need to be. It's going to be fine. I'm not really that worried about it. I got enough stuff to last me several days. We're not going to starve. And there's not really anything I need to get to really prep up. We're fine. Wildlife Homesteader says, never get snow in, is that Southern California? SCA? Is that Southern California, I'm guessing? Yeah, I can imagine you don't. Guijo's Family Farm says, we got 10.5 inches of snow last January, and this storm looks the same. Really, I'm kind of surprised. I didn't think you ever got snow that far south. But yeah, it may be then. I don't know. I haven't looked that far. I saw ice and stuff for like Texas, but that looked like mostly northern Texas, so I'm not real sure. Or more northern Texas anyway. But I haven't really looked that close into it, so. Don says, I still have one brooder with 13 2-week-old quail, and lockdown is tomorrow night on the next batch. Well, good luck with both of those. Hopefully the ones in the brooder are doing fine, and hopefully you get a good hatch out of the ones that you're hatching next. Andy Rabbit says, well, the plucker will be coming in sometime between February 12th through 23rd. Need a few quail to butcher by then. Well, I don't know what it looks like for you to have them, but hopefully it works. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, hey, Chris, do you think it's okay to eat incubated eggs that didn't develop? No, I wouldn't eat those. No, not if they've been in there in the incubator heating up for a week and a half. I don't think that's a good idea at all. Jeremiah Jimenez says, what's your opinion on the chicks from Tractor Supply, or should I get them from a breeder? Are you talking about chickens? And I don't know what kind of chickens we're talking about. Are you talking about egg-laying chickens or meat chickens? I have ordered chickens through Tractor Supply. It wasn't. I mean, Tractor Supply is not the one. They got them from Hoover Hatchery, I believe. I mean, they get them from a hatchery. So I don't see any reason there's anything wrong with them necessarily. They're coming from a breeder anyway. They're not coming from Tractor Supply themselves. But, I don't know. I mean, you could get them. You can get them from wherever you want to. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't get them from Tractor Supply if they've got them available. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, or would that pose a health risk? Talking about eating the eggs from the. Yeah, I don't think I would eat them. I don't think that's a good idea. Andy Rabbit says, chicks from Tractor Supplies come from a hatchery. If you order them, they would come from the same place. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying. You were much more precise about it than I was. Don says, frozen tire valve can put air in. It took a week to thaw. I was on a trip, and it must have gotten moisture in it last Saturday, even though it has a cap on it. Yeah, it doesn't take much, though, does it? Now that I think about it, though, yeah, I don't know that I've ever had my tire valves freeze. So, yeah, it must have been some kind of moisture in there. But, yeah, I don't know. Oh, Andy Rabbit says, but why chickens when you can have quail? Hey, you can have both if you want to. Thomas Gollum says, let's see, I've noticed that in my outdoor enclosure with around 20 birds, 2 or 3 seem to have been a bit beat up around the eyes, most likely from male aggression or hen-on-hen crime with a question mark. I would probably guess it's probably the hens doing it, but I don't know for sure. Most of the time when I see aggression, it's usually the hens. The hens are usually the ones. The males are just too interested in breeding the whole time. Now, excuse me, if you have too many males in there and there's like they're overbreeding the hens, that can make them a little bit aggressive as well. So it could be indirectly related to your roosters if you have too many roosters. I never go above like 1 to 4, 1 rooster to every 4 hens. I never go any denser than that. And really 1 to 5 is about where I like to be. So that I don't know if that helps or not. Hopefully it does. Don says, egg is one thing we don't have to worry about not having, us with quail. We could be on the parking lots selling them, LOL. Yeah, no, I never thought about that. I should go out and stand in the parking lot and sell eggs right outside Walmart. Who's out, right? I don't have a whole bunch of eggs stored up right now, though. We use them all. Thomas Gollum said, oh, wait, this is Nathan Bailey, says to Thomas Gollum, there is a spot on the egg yolk you can check for fertility. If it's just a dot, it's not fertile, but if it's a target like a ring and a dot, it is fertile. You're absolutely right. I don't know if I answered that question incorrectly when you asked it earlier, but he's absolutely right. If you want to crack the eggs open before you ever incubate and you want to see like what percentage of your eggs are fertile, that's the way to do it. Crack open a handful of eggs. I usually do about 5 to 10. Check that little white spot on the yolk. If it's got a faint bullseye ring around it, it's a fertile egg. So you can check 10 eggs, and if 9 of them are fertile, well, then 90% of your eggs are fertile. Go ahead and start incubating. That's kind of the way I would do it. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, Jeremiah, if you can get chicks locally from someone in your area, yeah, get chicks locally from someone in your area if you can. That would be great if you could. Yeah. Andy Rabbit says, I got to dig out rubber boots out before the snow hits. Yeah, mine are. I mean, I wear my rubber boots out every morning when I go to water and feed the quail because, I do it in the morning before I ever shower or anything like that. So I get up, get my, I've got house shoes on basically, and I just get dressed. I mean, I put jeans and a t-shirt on when I get up, the ones I was wearing the night before usually. Take them off, put them back on first thing in the morning with the house shoes, and I just slip into my rubber boots, go out and feed and water everything, come back in, get back into my house shoes. Thomas Gollum says to Nathan, thanks. I've watched candling videos, but I guess I need to buy more powerful pin light to see through white and brown eggs. Yeah, candling really, I mean, it's a little bit more difficult on quail eggs, and you need a fairly bright light to be able to block out. I just use my hand, but you need to be able to block out the light spilling around things. But if it's a non-fertile egg, it'll usually glow pretty good. You'll know it. I mean, if it's not, I shouldn't say non-fertile, non-developed egg, when you go into like candling or whatever, it'll light up. You should be able to tell mostly, unless it's like a really dark egg, and then sometimes it's hard to tell. And if it's hard to tell, just err on the side that it's a good egg and incubate. Jeremiah Jimenez says, yes, chicken egg layers. Talking about, but where to get chickens from. Yeah, again, I mean, get them locally if you can. If you can't find any locally, Tractor Supply's fine. They just order from hatcheries anyway. Andy Rabbit says, I can picture Aaron in his attic shoveling snow in shorts and Crocs. Oh, yeah, no kidding. Is that what you do, Aaron? Andy Rabbit says, get a green laser for candling eggs, quail eggs. And I've never tried that. It might work. Zora says, South Texas calling for 20 degrees. It's pretty frigid for you guys down there. Buck Stops Here Homestead says, Chris, what's your opinion on grinding feed for baby quail? I did it at first when I started with quail, but I seen a video from my shire and they said not to, so I quit grinding the feed. Yeah, I never grind feed. I've never done it. There's no reason to. There's actually some reasons you may not want to. I'm trying to. Basically, you just don't need to. There's no reason to. They can eat the crumble right out of the bag just fine from day one. So don't go through the extra effort. There's just no reason to do it. Wildlife Homesteader says, Jeremiah, yeah, I'd check your local stock for egg layers in your area. Yeah, that's probably good advice. See what you can do. See what you can find. But, Tractor Supply is fine to order from. Don says, it would be fun to wait for the snow freak out and run into a parking lot and double the price of quail eggs, LOL. Yeah, that's a thought, huh? Andy Rabbit says, when the temperatures dropped last week, I lost quite a few of my 6-week-old quail chicks. They didn't have heat lamp for over a week, maybe 2 weeks already. Interesting. I'm kind of surprised to hear that, honestly. I've never had real issues. By the time they get to be 6 weeks old, if they've been off the heat lamp for a couple of weeks, they're usually fine at that point. Alan Pulley says, I have a friend at work that wants to purchase some of my quail eggs. What do you recommend selling a dozen for? I look them up what they sell for in your area around here. I mean, you're looking at probably just for eating eggs, if that's what he's wanting them for. I don't know. I'd say they probably go for about 25 cents an egg, roughly. 50 cents an egg for hatching eggs and like 25 cents an egg for eating eggs. Don says, my rubber boots are sitting in my office on a rug. I use them most of the winter. Yeah, I use mine not a lot, but like I said, when I go out to feed every morning, winter or summer, it doesn't really matter. They just sit right out there. You can't see it, but right out there by my back door. Zora says, TSC had a dozen Black Star chicks and 12 Freedom Rangers. They sold me for $1 each last spring. Black Stars laying great, and Freedom Rangers were decent meat birds. $1 each, that's not too bad, is it? How we doing on time? We got plenty of time left. We're good. Don says, crap, new snow mount. Now I'm in the heavy snow band. Oh, let's see. How do I look that up? Let's see what we're seeing here. If I can, Let's see. One day. That was from a day ago. I can't find it easily. Okay, so winter storm watch, the Joplin area with a possible of 6 to 9 inches of snow. When was that? That was 21 hours ago. I think it's actually risen since then. I don't know. I'll worry about it later. Dawn says, at least it's not ice. That stays south. Yeah, no kidding. I'd much rather have snow than ice. Ice is way worse. Donna Campion says, if you hit like, you'll have an amazing hatch rate. I wish that was true. David Lister says, tip, we have both a gas generator and a small solar generator. If power goes out and it is cloudy, plug the solar generator into the gas generator to charge it when the solar generator gets low. Okay. I don't have a generator at all. As long as we don't get ice, we should be okay on power. Andy Rabbit says the green laser shines right through a quail egg. Best candle light ever. Nice. I'm going to have to check that out. It says get one with a 18650 battery that is rechargeable. Rechargeable is the way to go for sure. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's see. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, Andy Rabbit, I treat for coccidiosis just in case because that's been going around. I've actually never had a case of it with my rabbits, but if I did have cases of that, yeah, treating ivermectin, that would be probably something to do. Thomas Gollum says, anybody use sealed compost bins for quail waste? Worth it or anaerobic mess? Also thinking about DIY black soldier fly larvae to handle waste. Anybody have experience? Well, I mean, I could tell you experience with black soldier fly larvae. They're just natural here. They just occur in the summer, so I don't do anything special. They just come in and they do a great job. I mean, they keep it all composted. They're fantastic. As far as a closed, sealed composter, I've never seen any that really worked all that well. An open compost pile is really the things that I've found that do the best. If it starts to smell bad, just turn it and it'll be fine. I don't know. Maybe somebody else will have some other suggestions. Dawn says the very heavy snow is right below me. Watch me get up to 15 inches now or more. Yeah, maybe. Hopefully not. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, I just throw the poop away, honestly. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do it. Dawn says, I have a whole house generator. It needs to be here. I don't like my green light to candle with. I like the Inkbird light. I didn't know Inkbird made a light. I've just got I think it's a Phoenix brand flashlight I've had for years, and that's what I use if I'm going to candle, but I don't really candle very often. And Andy says, that's still funny, Dawn, because I don't like my Inkbird light. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, to each their own, right? Everybody has different tastes and different things they like. Oh, it's Ink Bright, not Ink Bird. Okay, Incubright, I think is what it is. Don says Incubright. My bad, got it confused. No problems. I get way more confused than that. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, yeah, I love that brand. So some people like it, some people don't. I can't give you suggestions because I don't know. I haven't used either one. Olin Loon, I think it is, says, good evening. Good evening to you too. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that. Let's see. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, I use it for all sorts of egg types. Talking about the Incubright, right? Guidro's Family Farm says, I only candle for balut. Yeah, I don't do balut. But yeah, if you were going to do balut, that would make sense. You would want a candle for them, right? Thomas Gollum says, how long do you keep your breeder males before replacing with new ones? When are males past their prime? I generally am replacing mine about probably every 18 months-ish, something like that, maybe a little sooner, but they could go longer than that. I mean, you can get a couple of years out of them, honestly, and they'll be okay. If you want to stay in the absolute best, I think the general wisdom is about once every 12 months at least. somewhere around in there. Wildlife Homestead Service says about a year to 6 months. And I don't see any reason not to do it that way. I mean, if you're hatching out anyway, it's pretty easy to do. I typically just do about once a year and a half, something like that. Guidro's Family Farm says, I have a custom LED grid that fits on my quail tray so I can candle 90 at a time. That's pretty convenient. Dawn says, I only candle at lockdown. Yeah, I don't candle at all, but if I was, it would be at lockdown. Andy Rabbit says, I only tend to candle bought shipped eggs because I'm so excited to know what possibility is. Yeah, a little impatient, right? I get it. The Buck Stops Here Homesteads. I don't know what that is. A crown with a number 1 next to it. I don't know what that is. Dawn says, I found out that the Incubrite is the best. We love ours. Or I found that the Incubrite is the best. We love ours. Well, I mean, there you go. There's a couple of suggestions for different lights. I don't know that, honestly, it matters. I mean, you need a decently bright light, but it doesn't have to be, I mean, anything necessarily special. Let's see. Buck Stops Here Homestead says, me too. I've had mine since 2021, and I recently dropped it 4 times on a concrete floor, and it's still good. Oh, my flashlight, I mean, it's just a regular flashlight. It's not a special candling light or anything like that. Yeah, I've had that for a long time, and I have dropped it multiple times. It's been banged up and beat up, and it still works. Thomas Gollum says, does anybody supplement their quail's diet with bugs or greens? If so, please explain the process. Do I need to then offer grit to aid digestion? If you were going to be, you really should offer grit if you're going to be supplementing their food to aid digestion. That can also honestly be just something as simple as a sandbox, though. They'll get the grit that they need from that sand. I don't really, occasionally I will give them some other things. They get bugs that fly into the cage or something, or get into the cage. They'll eat those occasionally, but I don't really purposefully go out of my way to supplement them with anything that extra. Somebody else may be able to speak to it a little bit more and see. Andy Rabbit says, my Incubrite sizzles when I put new batteries in it, so I just tossed it in a drawer. Huh, that's interesting. Zora says, butchered my last 26 breeder quail today to make room for Guidro's chicks. Well, awesome. Good luck with that hatch. I'm sure you get they're a great supplier, so I'm sure you're going to get great hatches out of it. Dawn says, I do not like the fact that it is round and rolls off things. Yeah, I never thought about that being an issue, but that makes sense. I mean, my flashlight has like a belt clip on it. It's round, so I guess it would roll, but the belt clip thing that, the pocket clip, whatever it is, would keep it from rolling off things. But yeah, that would be a pain if it was just like set it down and it just rolled off the table. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, it's a trooper, your light, Chris. Yeah, it is. It wasn't a cheap light. I mean, it's a fairly expensive light when I bought. I mean, for a flashlight, it wasn't like break the bank expensive, but close to $100, I think. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, do you give your Coturnix quail oyster shells? I don't find it necessary. As long as you've got 1.5% roughly of, or 1.5 to 2%, somewhere like that, of calcium in their diet already, there's no need to provide any additional calcium. If you're going to, then provide it in a separate container. Don't mix it in with their food, because if they'll just regulate how much they need. If they get too much calcium in their diet, it can lead to really thick eggshells and affect your hatch rate. So it make it hard for chicks to be able to pip and get out of the eggshell. So I don't do any kind of supplemental calcium oyster shell or anything like that. I just don't need it. My quail food is, I think, 1.5% calcium. Maybe it's 2%, but 1.5 to 2% is right about the right range for them. Don says, I grow hydroponics year round. Half is bird treats. I love the sound of the hens when they get their lettuce, tomatoes, peppers, watermelon, etc. Interesting. Yeah, I don't grow anything for specifically for my animals necessarily. Uh-oh, that one's empty, but I brought a spare. I knew I was going to empty that out before the end of the broadcast, so brought a spare. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, thank you. Well, you're absolutely welcome. Hopefully you got the information you needed, and we're good. All right, 7:45. We got about 15 minutes left. If there's something you want to talk about, get it in there. We'll get on it. The chat's kind of slowed down here, so, I mean, as you guys know, I don't ever really have much any topics planned to talk about. So when the chat dies down, it gets kind of boring. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not boring for you guys. It's kind of boring for me because I feel like I need to fill the dead air and there's nothing to say. See, Wildlife Homestead Observer says, Chris, do you have any tips on gardening spring? On gardening spring? Like, so you mean like any tips on like gardening this spring coming up? Like when spring hits, that's what you're talking about? Yeah, I mean, the one thing is, I used to be a little bit more confident about this. I'm a little bit not real sure when I'm going to start plants right now. You know, if you're talking about starting your plants from seed, usually you want to do that about 6 weeks. It depends on which plant you're talking about. But when I say that, I'm talking mostly your heat-loving plants like your tomatoes, your peppers. I don't ever start cucumbers early. I just plant them directly in the ground. They grow so fast. But most of your heat-loving plants like your tomatoes, your peppers, that kind of stuff, you want to start them about 6 weeks before you plan on planting them out. A lot of places will tell you 6 weeks before your average last frost date. But I would go 6 weeks before you plan on planting them out. And I don't plant out until about 2 weeks after the last frost. So normally that puts us into like the first, maybe second week of May. So that right about Mother's Day. So I would count 6 weeks back from that, start my tomatoes and my peppers at that time. But lately it does seem like our seasons have been shifting just a little bit. So like the last 2 years, it was still pretty chilly by Mother's Day. It was still too chilly to put tomatoes and peppers out. You know, the other things that I plant out, you know, anything like see okra just starts planting directly in the ground about the same time I plant tomatoes and peppers out to the garden. So a couple of weeks after our last frost, nighttime temperatures are, you know, in the 50s or 60s at least. Daytime temperatures getting up in the 70s and 80s, you know, at least. You know, those plants really like the warmth, and the warmth is what's going to get them going. So those, you know, okra, cucumbers, what else? Squash and zucchini, that kind of stuff. I usually go about 4 weeks before I plan on planting them out because they get so big so fast. So those a little bit later. Let's see. What else can I give you tips for? You know, if you can do your amendments to your soil, like if you're going to throw compost on and all that kind of stuff, get those on. Like now's really the best time. If it wasn't snowing this weekend, that's what I would be out doing. Get them on before spring hits, and it gives them time to get kind of worked into the soil a little bit. I don't work them in that way. I just kind of spread it on top and let it kind of seep in. I don't know. What other tips do you need? What else can I tell you? Olin Luna says, or Olin Loon, I think it is, says, stay warm and safe this weekend. Thank you. You too. Zohar says, too much calcium over 4% also will affect fertility rate from what I researched and what I was told. Yeah, I don't know if it affects fertility necessarily, but it can affect your hatch rate because of what I was talking about. Basically, it thickens the eggshell. It makes it hard for the eggs to pip. It might affect fertility rate too. I don't know. I've never really heard that. Poppy D34 says, Chris, what does your shirt say? What does my shirt say? It says, you may be cool, but you will never be Teddy Roosevelt riding a moose cool. He did that during a promotional photo shoot for his campaign. Thomas Gollum says, especially with birds under 8 to 9 weeks. What are we talking about with birds under 8 to 9 weeks? I may have missed something. I'm not really sure what we're talking about there. Jimmy Fershi, I think Fershi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Jim Fershi, I don't know. Says I processed 6 rabbits this past weekend and I'm working on using the belly flaps as jerky in the oven. Has anyone else done that? I've done it a few times and I like it. I've actually never done it, but I've seen lots of people that have done it and said it was good. I may give it a try sometime. I don't know. Andy Rabbit says, I have a most needed package that is supposed to be here Saturday. I'm hoping it comes tomorrow because I'm afraid it will not come Saturday if we get all this snow. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's a little nerve-wracking. It probably won't get here Saturday if it snows, right? But I think the snow's not supposed to start till late in the day Saturday, so you may still be okay. Let's see. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, is it too late for kale? You mean to start kale outside right now? It depends on your climate, where you're at. But kale, I don't know, honestly. I don't like kale at all, so I don't grow it. But I believe that's more of an early spring crop. So the things that you're cold weather, you want to start those. And you can start them inside, but really there's a short window here where we can grow that kind of stuff because it seems like it goes from cold, like we're getting frost and freezing temps, to hot in like very short window. Lettuce, most of those like leafy greens like lettuce and spinach, and I guess kale would probably be the same thing. It may be a little bit more heat tolerant, but all that stuff, when it gets hot, they want to bolt and they don't do very well in the heat. So you really want to start those a couple of weeks before your last frost date. When you're not getting freezing temperatures, but you may still be getting a little bit of frost, they're pretty frost tolerant and they like the cooler weather. So you want to start those a couple of weeks before your last frost. If you look at, what is it? Johnny's Select Seeds, I think, is Johnny's Seeds. Let me look real quick. There we go. They have a really good planting calendar. Yeah, there we go. I'll just paste it in there. You have to put in what your like average last frost date is, and then it just tells you basically when to start everything. It's a pretty good planting calendar. Andy Rabbit says, I like belly flap jerky. A Wildlife Observer says belly flap bacon strips. Well, I don't know if you could pass it off as bacon. There's no fat in it, but maybe you could try, I guess. David Lister says, how was your recent rabbit breeding gone? We have had no luck with any of our 3 sets of rabbits, even after fall-offs. My last one, I had no luck, even after good fall-offs. But I've got another week, I think a week. Maybe it's 2 weeks. I think it's a week, though, before I'll know anything from this current one. We'll find out. Poppy D says, LOL, thanks, Chris. It's true, I'm not that cool. Oh, yeah, none of us are, really. Read about Teddy Roosevelt. Some of the things he did, crazy. Don says to David Lister, when I had the same problem, they were just a little too young. Yeah, mine's not too young. I know that. Okay. Jim Fershi, I guess it is, says, think chocolate. Fershi. It rhymes with Hershey. Thank you. I'll probably forget that, but I'll do my best to remember. So then he goes on to say, there were rabbits that were born in April, but we were resetting our herds, so we'll see something this week, I think. Hopefully they'll get to try it to keep warm, LOL. Trying to get them bred, is that what you're saying? And David Lister says that his were proven breeders from earlier this year. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I don't know if Wildlife Homestead Observer says, appreciate it. You're absolutely welcome. Yeah, that's a really good seed starting calendar, I think. You just put in, like I said, what your average last frost date is. Look it up on, for your area. If you don't know what it is, just look it up. You can find it on Google. Maybe add a week to it and then put that date in just to be on the safe side. But it should work pretty well for you. Dawn says, that is strange to David. Yeah, same thing happened with my rabbit when I bred her. She's proven, but they're on the older side, so it's possible that they're starting to age out. But I don't know. We're trying again. We're going to find out here in a week or two, if she is going to have her babies or not. it'll be coming up. Let me see. Like I can tell you if it's coming up this week or next week or what. I've got a reminder set to check on it. I got to remember where it is though. Where did I put that? Ah, right there. I don't want that right now. Uh-oh. Where's my reminders? Uh-oh. I don't know where the reminder went. I'm going to have to go back and look at some stuff. I think I wrote it down somewhere else. I put it in my phone. It seems to be gone. So we'll find out. Anyway. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, how much do you feed your rabbits to go through? How much feed do your rabbits go through in a month? Not much, honestly. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't tell you exactly, but one bag of feed with the 3 breeders I have right now, even when I had 4 breeders, yeah, I mean, it lasts me for a while, probably over a month, well over a month, I want to say. But, I mean, they go through roughly 8 ounces a day, something like that. So if you want to do that math, you can figure out how much they go through in a month. Thomas Gollum says, could I integrate different species of quail in one outdoor enclosure? The goal would be to have a larger bird over 500 grams and one that lays blue eggs like Celadon quail. So when you talk about different species of quail, like you're talking about like bob whites and Coturnics, and those are different species. Now, if you're talking about like jumbos and standard size Coturnics, those are the same species. So yeah, you can integrate those. I mean, you can get jumbos of different colors and Celadons and all that. As long as they're all Coturnics, you can house them all together. They'll interbreed, no problems. But bob whites mixed with Coturnics, not a good idea. They're not going to get along well. They won't interbreed. They're different species, so you can't do that. But it's just not a good idea to house them together either. Don says to David Lister, if you have several does with the same buck and all were proven, then I'd look at the buck. Yeah, I would probably too. Thomas Gollum says, sorry, Coturnics. Yeah, I mean, you could do that. Honestly, you're probably not going to get great results from that. If you just put them all in one thing and let them interbreed to try to get bigger birds, you're probably not going to. You need to be very selective if you really want to get a bigger bird. You want to be very selective with which birds you're breeding to each other. Only the biggest birds. It's a process to isolate those genes and to get them and to improve on them. And just mixing them together, they're probably going to get smaller rather than bigger over time. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, I keep my jumbo and standards separate. Yeah, I would too. Yeah, it's not just, I mean, if it was that easy, then everything would be getting bigger all the time. And it just doesn't work that way. How are we doing on time? We got 2 minutes left. So we're just about done for this evening. We'll see what comes through in the next minute or two. Thomas Gollum says, man, that hour flew by. Thanks for answering all our questions. You're absolutely welcome. It always goes by fast. That's what they say. You know, time flies when you're having fun, right? That's what they say anyway. Hopefully we're having fun. All right, what else we got? I don't have anything interesting to talk about. I wish I did. Dawn says, time goes by quick with Chris's chats. It goes by fast for me. I don't know how it goes by for you guys. It may be like long, drawn out, hard to sit through. I don't know. Wildlife Homestead Observer says, I can't believe it's almost February 2026. Yeah, no kidding. It is coming up fast. Oh, excuse me. Andy Dundas says, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Nathan Bailey says, see you all next week, Lord willing. God bless. You too, absolutely. Andy Rabbit says, it goes by fast. I agree. Thomas Gollum says, time to get to the New Year's resolution, LOL. Yeah, I never set any resolutions, so I don't have I don't have any to worry about breaking them or getting to them or anything. Poppy says, your show is great and your chat is awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And the chat is awesome. We got a good group of people that show up here on a pretty regular basis. Usually if I don't know the answer, somebody else does. And, we learn from each other. So they're always good time. All right, guys, it is 8 o'clock. I guess it is time to wrap this one up. So we'll see you guys next week, should anyway, unless something crazy happens between now and then. The snowpocalypse hits and knocks all our power out or something, but I think we'll be okay. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. And as always, God bless.